help young players get to the next level. My husband has tons and tons and tons of experience in the baseball world. And I said, fine. I jumped all the way in. It was a tiny little facility. It was only 3,500 square feet. And so I brought my dental experience and what I had learned in dentistry to the sports world, not really knowing much about how I was going to do anything in this business.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Today in the house, we have Jessy Rodriguez-Melendez. I'm so excited to have you here. I admire you. Please share with us a little bit about your background so we can get to know you more.
So Paola, thank you so much for having me on with you tonight. So where do I start? I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. It really started as a little girl for me. I come from the Bronx, New York, and Latina. My mother is Puerto Rican and my father's Cuban, or was Cuban. My father's deceased now. And, just always had huge aspirations and big dreams always. And right when I got to about high school, I started noticing that I had like this real passion for anything that had to do with business. And so even, as a young woman, I started investigating. I was always very inquisitive. I always had a lot of questions. How does this happen? Why does this happen? How does that work? And I actually got one of my biggest starts in a dental office when I was in high school. Um, that doctor, Dr. Golden, I'll never forget him, took me under his wing. And I knew nothing about dentistry at the time. But he took me under his wing and taught me almost everything there was about dental assisting. But his wife was the one who used to run the practice, and I was always super intrigued to watch how she did things. Interestingly enough, his dad used to bring in these drinks all the time, and he would say, hey, try this or try that. What do you think about that one? Tell me what you thought about that one. Long story short, that it ended up being Snapple. His dad was the owner of Snapple. And so years later, after I discovered that he had sold Snapple for I don't know how many billions of dollars, I was still in the dental field and really became more interested in owning my own business. And so my husband came to me and said, and my husband had been in the fitness business and industry for many, many years. He said, we should start this baseball training program in the Bronx, where we're from. We can service our community. We can help young players get to the next level. My husband has tons and tons and tons of experience in the baseball world. And I said, fine. I jumped all the way in. It was a tiny little facility. It was only 3,500 square feet. And so I brought my dental experience and what I had learned in dentistry to the sports world, not really knowing much about how I was going to do anything in this business. But I knew that he had all the tools, and I was going to just have to learn, and I was going to implement what I had learned in business through dentistry to fit what we were trying to do. And so we started with just one-on-one, training sessions. I would book, right? Just like we book in dentistry, I would make appointments. Players would come in, he would see them one-on-one. And here's what I quickly learned about the sports industry. In the sports industry, you would starve if you depended on just one-on-one services, especially with the type of facility that we had. We had very big overhead. And I said to myself, well, how do I not kill my husband, because there's only so many hours in a day he can work? How do I scale this business so that we can impact more players and have a bigger number? And I created the membership model.
Ooh.
And I created groups of training sessions then. And instead of him doing one-on-one, he was doing one to many. He went from seeing one player to seeing 30 players all in one class. And so I was able to scale the business very quickly. And from that, we ended up creating 17 different programs out of a 3,500 square foot facility
Wow.
that then became a homeschool a couple of years ago. I created the
Oh,
first ever baseball homeschool program in the Northeast.
amazing.
Um, and then this is how I got involved with the brain and neural encoding part to this. So, through a very personal experience with an athlete who's very close to me, I noticed that athletes very, very frequently suffer from depression, anxiety, um, even have suicidal thoughts. And I became really, really, really passionate about wanting to help these players and families, and even sports entrepreneurs, because the business of sports is very, very, very stressful most of the time. And so that's how I discovered Dr. Amen and Dr. Joseph McClendon. And now I am incorporating these methods into how I work with my sports coaching through my sports coaching business. So now, really, my business is comprised of two things now. I help other sports leaders build, scale, and launch their businesses.
Mhm.
And I'm teaching them how to take these methods that we're learning and have learned of neuroencoding and how to implement it into their daily lives so that they don't get burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed, and quit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. So let's go back to at the like your very beginning, whenever you were scaling your business. Did you ever had fear? Like, did you ever felt like, oh, what if this doesn't work? What if, like, did you doubt yourself for a second?
I had tons of fear. Fear, my first fear was, will they respect me? I'm a woman in a male dominated field because sports is mostly men. How will I relate to these players? I never played baseball. How am I going to relate to them? Um, how am I going to build a business um, in a tiny 3,500 square foot facility, which was unheard of? What we were trying to do was basically unheard of. Most of these sports facilities are 10,000 square feet, 15,000, 30,000 square feet. We were tiny in comparison. We were very inner city. So we really dealt with mostly single parent homes, mostly moms, because we were in the Bronx, New York. And so there were so many reasons for me to throw in the towel, pun intended, throw in the towel and say, this is not for me. But because I felt so passionate about proving first to myself that I could do this, two, I wanted to leave a legacy for my family and show other Latinas that we could do this. And I also could never disappoint the kids. I said, if I fail, then I'm saying to them that it's okay to fail and it's okay to walk away. And instead, I wanted, through all the adversity and all the challenges and all of the financial burden, I mean, it was such a huge financial burden. But I said, if God put this in our hands, He's going to show us how to do this. And He did. We were there for 13 years. We helped over 100 players go to college with scholarships. Um, and we ended up creating one of the most amazing communal um, communal organizations that had ever been seen. So we were so blessed and fortunate. And I'll be honest with you, the first year was the toughest. Obviously, we were a new business, and there were many times that um, I was in there with my knees knocking. But I was taught some years ago by a mentor, they said, be the swan, be the one who's paddling, 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 paddling underneath, but on the surface, you look so graceful, like nothing is impacting you. And I always remembered that. And I said, well, then that's going to be that's my mission here, is no matter what's going on, never let them see you sweat.
Beautiful.
And so that was really how I handled everything that would occur. We ended up having 13 travel teams at one time.
Wow. Did you
Yeah,
travel with them?
we did. We traveled to many different locations. We went to Puerto Rico. They played in Puerto Rico. They played in Texas. They played all over the Northeast, Florida. And that's how we would showcase players. We would travel with them to other locations, and then we would showcase their talents. And through that, they would get college opportunities.
Wow.
Yeah.
What could you tell to anybody like right now that is struggling at the very beginning of their business?
So the first thing I'm going to say is don't ever get into business just for money. You really have to find something that you're super passionate about. There's got to be vision. There's got to be a real mission. There's got to be real purpose. And I always say the greatest business to start is the business that has caused you pain that you can now turn into purpose.
Yeah.
So if there's something that has caused you great pain, then take that pain and make it into something useful. Make it into something that you can then help others that will not have to live through that experience, or you relieve perhaps the process that they'll have to live through because you came into the journey.
That is amazing. Yes. Turning into service, right?
Turn it into a service. Yeah.
Serving others.
Hmm.
Ah, how do you continue to do it? Like how, I mean, you show up every single day and you're
Yeah.
always busy, you're always working. How do you do it? What are the leadership skills that you have that you practice every day? Because you're also a mom, you're a wife,
Yeah.
you're an entrepreneur, and then you have clients on top of that.
Yeah. So this has been my philosophy from the beginning. Everybody's very into motivation, motivation, motivation. And I go, yeah, motivation is wonderful. And motivation is going to get you going. But at the core of that, you have to determine in your heart that you have a goal. And motivation is, again, going to be perhaps what wakes you up in the morning, but it's determination that's going to keep you going, that's going to keep maintain you, that's going to make sure that you stay the course. You have to have a big enough why. Why am I doing this? What's the real purpose? Is it because I really want to impact other people? Is it because I really do want to create a legacy for my family? Is it that I really do want to make a difference in my community? Is it that I want to teach other women that they can do this too? Is it because I cried myself to sleep so many nights that I don't want others to have to go through that? Is it because I watched my child in pain and I had to overcome not only the pain for me, but the pain for them? Right? So I always say your why has to be bigger than anything else because it's going to keep you, it's going to be the thing that's going to keep you going. Business is a very finicky thing. And I love how everyone, especially in the online space now, they want to glamorize business, right? They want to make it seem like it's all so glamorous. When I work with my sports clients now, I'm real with them and I tell them, listen, being in business is tough. You have to have tough skin. You have to have determination. You have to have willpower. You have to discover your real why, not all the fake stuff, not all the fluff, not all I want to be seen by everybody on Facebook or Instagram and not that those are bad things, but that's not what's going to keep you going. If your why is not big enough and you're not truly using it for the greater good, all of those things eventually will just die out. It's so long, and how many times can you continue to snap pictures and put up Instagram stories, or before you yourself get burned out and start asking yourself, why am I doing this? But when your purpose and your why is big enough, then like today I had to record 3 videos, all for this new masterclass that I'm going to be doing. And even having to rehearse it, because first you got to rehearse the video and then you record the video. And that's why I always tell everyone, I'm like, everybody sees the final product, but the behind the scenes of this stuff, sometimes is frustrating. I put up a funny video the other day of my husband and I recording a video together, because we did a 10-day athletic brain boost
Wow.
challenge. And so we
Okay.
did that one together. And it took it took my husband 90 takes to do one video.
One video.
And so everyone sees the finished product. But again, if your why is big enough, it doesn't matter.
You're
You
gonna
push
show up.
through those frustrations, you push through the the challenges, you push through them because you say no, but at the end what we're going to be putting out is so great, and people need this. Athletes right now are hurting, especially during COVID. You know, athletes are hurting. Parents of athletes are hurting. Athletic entrepreneurs are hurting, right? And overall, the sports world has really been impacted, especially by what's going on in COVID. Not just at the lower levels, but at the very professional levels as well. A lot of those athletes have had to make choices. Do I get vaccinated? Do I not get vaccinated? If I don't get vaccinated, I lose my career. All very big, stressful events that have occurred. And so now more than ever, brain health is super important.
I
And so
agree.
the neuroencoding methods that we're implementing into our sports, training and our programs is just, and we're not done yet. I mean, there's still so much that we want to do.
That's amazing. I love seeing you. I mean, I'm seeing you at not the last stage because I know we always have room to grow, but I
Absolutely.
see you as you made it. You made it. And what I admire about you is that you're sharing how, like, hey, do you need help? Here, I can help you.
Yeah.
So I really admire you for being a true leader and stepping up and saying, if you need help, I can help you. If somebody needs an information of how to create this about business, you're there. So that's very rewarding, to see because I'm not there yet, but I will. But it's like I'm watching,
Of
I'm
course.
watching how you made it and how you continue to grow. And at the same time, you're helping others. You're serving an
And
area,
you
any area.
and you know what's great? Again, one of my mentors, one of a really great mentor of ours, who's at a whole nother level that we want to be at someday. And he said, be like your website, never be finished.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That is,
I mean,
yes.
such great advice. He said, be like your website, just never be finished.
That
And I
is,
said,
yeah.
that's great advice, because everything that we learn, and through the process, and for technology, for example, right? Technology on a daily basis is changing. And so with my sports clients, my sports coaches that I coach and consult, and we do a lot of this tech stuff for them, because that is most of the time the biggest frustration. They're like, I don't know how to, set up this website. I don't know how to set up an email system. And I don't know how to connect all of these, technical, and all this technology has to be connected to one another. I don't know how to do all of this. And so I say, okay, listen, you do what you do really well, and my team will handle the rest. My team will take care of all of your tech stuff. We'll get all your websites done. We'll get all your social media set up. We'll get, whatever it is that you're trying to get set up. Focus on what you do well. Stay in your lane and let those that do that part do it really well. But on the other hand, I also say, if you have the mind for it, not everybody has the mind for technology. Not everybody really even cares to learn it. I was one of the rare people that said, I don't only want you to do it, I want you to teach me to know how to do it, even if I don't want to do it. Because if someday you can't do it, I want to know what I need to do. Now, that doesn't mean I know how to do it all, but I know how to do most of it. I know how to set up landing pages and funnels and email systems, and how to work on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and set them all up and create great graphics and all of that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I want to be with my clients. I want to be serving others. I want to be teaching others. I want to help others. That's really my lane. And so through my marketing agency, now I'm also able to help, right? Because I relieve those frustrations off of other people's laps. And they love that. They're like, oh my gosh, this is great. You mean I don't have to worry about this? This is fantastic. So it's just another phase and another way for me to help.
That's amazing. Now, before I ask you the last question, where can we find you? If there is anybody here, any listeners that says the things I want to know more about Jessy, where can we find you?
So they can find me on Facebook, Jessy Rodriguez-Melendez. We're also known as the Unbeatable Family. So they can find us on Facebook under Unbeatable Family. They can email me at jrmpcc@gmail.com. And they can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Jessy Rodriguez-Melendez or the Sports Business Institute.
Okay, I'll make sure to type it on the description.
Absolutely.
Now, before you go, I appreciate your time, your wisdom, your knowledge, and sharing your experiences with us. What would be an advice that you would give our listeners today for them to begin to create a brighter future?
Ask yourself really good questions. Just like you would ask others questions to try to develop a sense of understanding who they are. And so ask yourself the same. Ask yourself those burning questions. Why? Why me? Why now? How can I help? How can I be of service? What do I need to make better about me? How can I make me better? How can I feel or get to the level where I feel content with what I'm doing and who I am? And if the answers that come up are not ideal, then ask a better question and then discover, how do I get to that point? How do I get from where I am to where I really want to be? And what are the steps I would need to take? I think that, again, this all plays back into what the world that we're living in. Everyone wants everything yesterday. My husband even says that with athletes. We'll have some parents come in and they're like, oh, he's got tryouts in 3 weeks, we need you to see him. And we're like, oh, this is not microwave sports. This is, put in the hard work. You have to work through the off season so you can be great in the in season.
Yeah.
So same thing with the concept of what we're doing, and especially as brain trainers, I don't think we're ever going to stop learning. I think there's just so much to learn in the brain space, and we have the best mentors in Dr. Amen and Dr. McClendon. I mean, what amazing people for us to look up to and to learn from. It's just been a blessing. And then we've run into great folks like you and other people in the group. I mean, it's just been so wonderful. It's been a great experience overall.
Yes, I agree. Our community, has been amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody that is listening to us today. Like Jesse said, you know, instant gratification right now, it is a problem in society. Let's analyze and see how, you know, we are being wired towards instant gratification. Like, for example, when your phone goes ding, you know, we automatically get kind of like a rush of dopamine, and we are getting addictive to it, you know, and it's just instantaneously uh, a feeling that we get, and we want more of it, but in reality it's not truly serving us.
Mhm.
I hope you find a word, a message, a phrase, an idea, an aha moment that you can implement into your lives to make it brighter. Blessings to you all. High five.